Hello and welcome to another episode of Favorite Fallout Characters. In this episode I am talking about Joshua Graham, aka the Burned Man. This is one of my favorite characters in the Fallout series. I've been waiting for the perfect time to finally put this video out, and I found that time. Joshua's story of him being an absolute monster, then this event happening and it just changes his outlook on life. He just becomes a brand new person with a different perspective and just all the things that haunt him and all the things that drive him. It's just a crazy character with an awesome background and fantastic character development. So, before I talk about why I love this character, let's start from the beginning. This is the story of Joshua Graham. Joshua was born in Utah. Growing up, he spent his time learning how to be a missionary, and in 2246, he went out on his own to do missionary work and to try to apply his skills. Eventually, he ran into two members of the Followers of the Apocalypse. One of those members was named Edward Sallow. You now know him as Kaiser. This encounter would change the wasteland forever. Kaiser and Joshua then ran into the Blackfoot tribe, and eventually Kaiser would become the leader of this tribe and teach them how to fight. Joshua chose to stay with Kaiser and use his knowledge of translation and other skills to help them out, but he would also take on a more active role. You see, Joshua wasn't only a translator for the tribe, he also led troops into battle. He also taught them how to fight. And this is when Joshua became a monster. He was an absolute madman. He was ruthless. He terrorized people. Death and destruction. He had no mercy. This was his life. For now. Kaiser and Joshua then created Kaiser's Legion after destroying all the tribes in the area, and they gave these defeated tribes two options. One, you can join them, or two, you can die. Joshua was the original legate, and he was even more of a monster than before. He was more ruthless, he was more bloodthirsty, he committed atrocities and had no remorse. Anything he could do to help Kaiser's Legion get influence and prestige, he would do it. It was almost like Joshua was untouchable. Many attempts was made on his life by the NCR, but they could not kill him, and the stories of these attempts on his life only made him even more of a legend and made him more feared as time went on. But things were about to change. The NCR and Kaiser's Legion were at war, and Kaiser entrusted Joshua to lead the Legion at the first battle of Hoover Dam in 2277, and the battle started. At first, it seemed like the Legion were on their way to victory, but Joshua made some costly errors and let his arrogance get the best of him. He didn't realize nor pay attention to the fact that the NCR planted explosives and led them into a trap. And not only that, the NCR were also picking Legion members off one by one. It was a desperate attempt by the NCR after fucking up so much, but it worked. The Legion lost, and Kaiser was fucking pissed. Kaiser decided to make an example out of Joshua and show everyone in the Legion that no matter what, if you fuck up, there will be consequences. It does not matter if you have a high rank or you've known Kaiser for a while. He will not tolerate mistakes. Joshua was set on fire and thrown off a cliff, sending him straight down into the Grand Canyon, and thus the legend of the Burned Man was born. Now, for most people, if they get set on fire and thrown off a fucking cliff, that's it, that's the end of their story. But not for Joshua, no. This was something different. This was a new beginning for him. Joshua survived all of this. He must have been born with maxed out luck. But not only did he survive, he was also reborn into a new man with a new philosophy and outlook on life. He experienced a rebirth. He found his faith and wanted to make up for his past life, and he wanted to do good. So he decided to return to New Canaan. It's a Mormon city in Utah. But Joshua could not find any peace. His demons haunted him, and his past actions followed him. You see, Joshua is a lucky person, but misfortune follows him wherever he goes, especially for the people around him. Kaiser knew he was still alive and sent a small tribe named the Whitelegs after him. The Whitelegs destroyed the city and almost everyone in it. Joshua, a man named Daniel, and a few others survived. The Burned Man made his way towards Zion Canyon and decided to make this area his new home. After settling in Zion Canyon, he decided to put all of his effort into making sure the white horses will never haunt him or anyone else ever again. He became the war chief of a tribe called Dead Horses. Joshua wants revenge for what happened at New Canaan. He wants to wipe out the Whitelegs, and he wants to deal a blow to Kaiser's Legion. He hates them both. And really, who can blame him? After all the shit he'd been through, I would hate them too. And that is the story of Joshua Graham, aka the Burned Man. Well, there is more to it, but that depends on your actions in the Honest Hearts DLC for Fallout New Vegas. Now, originally, Joshua Graham was supposed to be introduced in Project Van Buren. For those of you that don't know what Project Van Buren is, it was the original Fallout 3. It was Interplay's Fallout 3, but the project was cancelled and the game never came out. So instead, Joshua was introduced in the Honest Hearts DLC for Fallout New Vegas, and this DLC starts off when your character goes on an expedition into this place that he or she has never been before, and then all of a sudden everyone on the expedition is attacked by members of the Whitelegs tribe. Luckily for you, your character survives this encounter, and then you meet a member of the Dead Horses. This member then takes you to a place called Angel Cave, and this is where you meet Joshua Graham. Now, when I first played this DLC, I did not know what to expect. I heard the legend of the Burned Man all throughout Fallout New Vegas. I got the little hints throughout the game, and I didn't know much about him. Then you hear about all the shit he went through. I walk into the cave, and then I just see this guy, he's sitting, and there's a whole bunch of .45 auto pistols on the desk, and he's maintaining them, and he's just wrapped in bandages. He looks like a mummy. He just looks like an angry motherfucker at first glance. I thought this guy was going to attack me, especially after hearing about all the shit he went through. I mean, let's be honest, most of us would be bitter, most of us would be pissed off, and we would just want to be causing carnage and chaos throughout the world if 1/4 of what happened to him happened to us. But no. As soon as I walked up and I started talking to him, he was actually pretty friendly. He expressed sympathy for the people that died on the expedition, and when you decide to help him, he thanks you for it. And then he started talking about all this religious stuff, and I was sitting there, I'm like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Because I'm agnostic, I'm not really religious, so I'm not knowledgeable about Bible verses, but I listened to him and I was like, okay, whatever. But after that first conversation, I wanted to know more about this character, so I really started paying attention to this DLC, and I'm happy I did because Joshua is a really deep character. And after I learned about his story, I realized that Joshua is a very complex character. This is a man that has many dimensions to him. Joshua is a man that has lived several lives. Not only was he a legend when he was with Kaiser's Legion, he also became another legend after he was betrayed and thrown into the Grand Canyon. One man has made such an influence on the Mojave that even if he's not actively going around it where he's just hiding off in a certain area, people still talk about him no matter what. Kaiser tried to make him irrelevant, he tried to erase him for history, but no matter what Kaiser can do, you can never erase the Burned Man from history. Now, the reasons why Joshua Graham is one of Fallout's most memorable characters to me are 1. The writing, and 2. How deep this character's story is. This is not a black or white thing where Joshua automatically becomes a saint and he doesn't do anything wrong, he's just an angel, he doesn't fuck up. No, this character is still very flawed, like all humans are. And when you're playing the Honest Hearts DLC, it's almost like you're a psychiatrist and you're doing a character study on Joshua Graham. You're watching him, and it's like he's doing this seesaw inside of his mind to not go back into old habits that are terrible and trying to do better things. But is he so clouded by revenge? Is his mind so fucked up by wanting revenge on the Dead Horses, and especially Kaiser, that he goes back into bad habits? And will he ever use his religion as a justification to cover up for his mistakes like many others have done throughout history? Will he use his religion to justify anything he does and to say that what he does is God's way and it's always right? And these are the eternal struggles that are stuck inside Joshua's mind, and as you play the Honest Hearts DLC, you see it all play out, and it's absolutely brilliant. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because there's no canon ending. Until we get a canon ending in the future and we officially figure out what happens, the choice is yours, because you have an influence on all of this, and what you do will change what happens in this DLC, and especially with Joshua. And I'll leave it at that. Let me know what you did in Honest Hearts, and I'll give you my opinion of the DLC, and I'll go more in depth about it later on when I review the DLC in a separate video. Now, I saved this part for last. I could not make a Joshua Graham video without talking about how badass a lot of his quotes are. This guy just has a lot of memorable quotes. You see some of them on inspirational pictures. If you go on the internet and type in Joshua Graham inspirational quote, you'll see a lot of stuff there. It's just that memorable. Even for people that are not fans of Fallout or video games, I could take a quote from Joshua Graham, put it on an inspiration poster, and that thing would fucking sell. I wouldn't do that, but Obsidian, Bethesda, if you guys are smart, you would fucking do that. That's money right there. I remember the first time I played Honest Hearts, and I asked Joshua, how the hell did you survive all of this? And this was his response.
I survived because the fire inside burned brighter than the fire around me. I fell down into that dark chasm. The flame burned on and on. The next morning, I woke up and crawled out of the northern edge of the Grand Canyon, that cursed place. It took me 3 months to reach New Canaan. It was as though the prodigal son had returned. They welcomed me like I had never left. Never done anything to shame them. The fire that had kept me alive was love. Their love. God's love. I will never be able to repay the debt I owe to them, but I must try.
When I first heard that, my thoughts were, wow, that's pretty badass. I didn't think he was going to say something like that. I could show you more dialogue, but I'll be here all day. I highly recommend playing the Honest Hearts DLC for Fallout New Vegas, or you could look up a video on YouTube where it shows you all the dialogue from Joshua. I highly recommend doing either one. Now, another thing that I remember about Joshua is the conversation that I had with him about his bandages, and when he told me about him having to replace his bandages every day, and the fact that every time his skin is exposed to air, it's just a horrifying experience. It gives him excruciating pain, and he has to deal with that every day. I think the developers put that in there on purpose to let the player know that Joshua Graham is haunted by his past actions on the inside and outside all the time, and karma came and hit him pretty hard. Now, what do I think about Joshua Graham? I think he's an excellent character, and we need more stories like this. We need more characters that are complex. We need more characters that are not one-dimensional. We need characters with stories that are worth getting into. We need characters and stories that we think about long after we beat the game. Bethesda, take note. Fire your writers and get better ones. Get way better ones. And I almost forgot to mention this, but I just remembered it. Joshua Graham is one of my favorite characters in the Fallout series, and he is a Mormon. That is something that's new to me because I've never met a Mormon before. I don't know if there are any around here. I know there's a lot in Utah and around that area, but I've never met one before. I don't know much about the religion, and I don't care to know because I'm agnostic, and I don't really give a fuck what you believe as long as you're not hurting anyone. You could believe a giant fucking pineapple for all I care. Just don't fucking hurt anyone. But yeah, that's pretty cool. He's a Mormon. And I heard someone else say that Joshua Graham might be a Jew because he referred to you as a Gentile. But I don't know. I still think he's a Mormon. And I just wanted to bring that up because I've never seen that in a video game before. Well, maybe I did, but I wasn't paying attention. I don't know. I forget about a lot of stuff. Well, thank you for watching this video. Let me know what you think about this character. Leave a comment if you want. You know how to get into contact with me. Have a great day.
In a world filled with misery and uncertainty, it is a great comfort to know that, in the end, there is light in the darkness. Every day we move closer to our judgment. We must do our best to walk in the footsteps of our Lord and teach others how to do the same. For many of us, the road is a difficult one, but the path is always there for us to follow, no matter how many times we may fall. Every day. Some days are harder than others.